welcome back. So today we're going to be speaking about the Aztec masking that I received this past week and how to paint that. And just want to get this out of the way. Please don't forget to like the video if you feel like it deserves a like. Please subscribe for future updates because we will be continuing this build. And of course, the other thing is to share. If you feel that this content is helpful, you know somebody who may be starting their model building journey or is building this particular ship and want a different perspective, please share this with them on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you share your content. Please don't forget to do that, and I'd appreciate that. Okay, so I was able to receive, I ordered and received the Aztec masking masks for this particular ship, and they came in an envelope. There are, here's the envelope, by the way. I got this from Cult TV Man, and the envelope came in a standard shipping type cardboard envelope. As you can see here, this is the actual cardboard envelope. This was not sealed or anything. The envelope itself was actually open and unsealed. And then of course the masks were inside of this. There are two sheets that came with this. This is one, and the other one is right below the saucer section here. This is number two. It was a little confusing. There are instructions here that it came with, and the instructions, as you read through, you know, are written in kind of like first person. It's like somebody speaking to you. I've switched to yellow orange vinyl since I built this kit. Unfortunately, I'm one of the guys that does not know the name of the person who built this kit, so it feels like I'm talking to somebody, but I have no idea who their name is. So that's all right. That's just the way this person decided. And by the way, thank you, whoever did this masking, because it's very helpful. And I do appreciate that. But it was, some of the instructions were just a little confusing, and I kind of figured out what I needed to do. So I read through this and I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I get these sections on the entire saucer? It was very clear that there's one set of masks for the top part of the saucer, and there's another set of masks for the bottom part of the saucer. And here's the difference here. And I had to really look to see, you know, what was different. And one of the big differences here on the top are the J-shaped little masking that goes right next to the BC deck. That's very different than the kind of the V-shaped masking that goes around the bottom saucer. So once I figured that out, let me see if I can get this a little closer. You can see it. There's the little question mark J-shape kind of mask right there. That's going to be, if you find that on the masks themselves, you know that all that is going to be the top part of the mask. Okay, that's the way I figured it out. So here's what I'm talking about. And as you can see, this is the top part, and I've already started it. But here's the little, this section here is where you find the J or question mark shaped mask. And they're all, you know, already almost, I mean, I've used most of them. The good thing that's provided, and they provide an extra set of masks in case you need them. So that was one challenge. So this sheet is going to be for the top saucer. This sheet has the masking for the bottom part of the saucer. So I basically took this sheet and put it aside so I wouldn't get confused, you know, with what was what. Now, I will tell you this, the other challenge was, okay, I only counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 panels. And of course there are more than 9 panels, you know, on this top section here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 16, 17 panels, whatever that is. I lost count. So anyway, definitely more than 9. you know, at first it was a little confusing. I was like, whoa, you know, where's all this going? Until I realized each one of these panels represents the positive and negative. So you've got 2 panels per one of these, right? So the way you do it, and just kind of show you here, you know, like you would get this section off of the panel here, and then you'd have these pieces left over. So these pieces go on the next panel. And so you'd have a positive side. So you see this shape here with the 3 and the arms here and all that. You have that exact same shape in a negative over here on this side. So basically it's 2 panels per one. When you do it that way, obviously I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panels to cover this entire thing. Plus the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little, you know, the little patterns around the BC deck. Now, obviously there's a whole lot more going on. I'm going to continue with the bottom part of the saucer today. So what I'm going to do right now is, let me just go ahead and demonstrate part of this to you so that you see what I'm talking about. And once I do that, I'll do the rest of this off camera. And, but you know, I'll come back and we'll discuss a little bit about the secondary hull in just a moment, something I want to show you as well. So let's get started here. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. And you're going to need, by the way, let me mark this as top saucer. I'm just gonna mark this as top, just so we don't get confused. And of course, here's the bottom saucer. Again, just so we won't get confused of which is which. All right, so you're gonna need a couple of things. You're going to need your X-Acto knife to help you. Get this out of the way. Let's kind of zoom in just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Let's start with a couple of panels here. Now these are a little tricky because they stick to the little parts, and so you've got to be super careful as you're doing this. You know, it is very tedious work, and it takes a lot of patience to do this, okay? And if I didn't mention this before, what I'm working with here are the Aztec Dummy Masks for the 1000 Enterprise refit. And I'm doing this because for whatever reason, the Polar Lights decals that were issued in 2020, 2019 with this, for this kit, should I say, are very, very rare nowadays. And the ones that I did find online, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but the ones I found online were very expensive, very expensive. So I decided to go with this kit, which it was about $30 through Cult TV Man is what it is, culttvman.com. And it was $30 for me with shipping where I live, so I don't know what it's going to be for you. But the kit came in. Steve at Cult TV Man is really good about communicating when he ships it and when the order is received and all that kind of thing. So I was really, I've been happy with anytime I've ordered Cult TV Man products from Cult TV Man, that is. Do recommend that site for, I do recommend that site for any kind of products. Obviously, you want to shop around, you might find something cheaper somewhere else, HDA Model Works or someplace else, you know, Starship, builders, that kind of thing. But for this set, I went ahead and went called TV Man. Okay, so here I am. I have, I'm using my X-Acto knife to hold on to the mask itself. And because I'm talking to you, I'm not going as fast. I'm trying to be very careful taking it out. I'm going to use the grid line here to align this. It's really tricky. I'm going to start on one side here, kind of align it with my eye, and then set it down and hold, and then kind of roll it off the X-Acto knife, and then just use my finger to spread it, put it down there. Okay, now right away I made a little mistake. Let me just show it to you real quick. I should have aligned it with this grid line right here. So now you see that the mask itself has come over to this next section. And I forgot to compensate for the fact that the neck is right here. So, easy mistake to correct. We're just gonna have to take this right back off and realign it with this grid line. And the other thing, I don't know if you see this or not, but this mask has a little bit of a piece that wasn't cut off, so it's forming a little point right there. I'm just moving it out of the way. But I'm gonna take this right back off, and I'm gonna use a toothpick or this bamboo stick. If you have a toothpick, you can do it too. This will be a little easier on the paint as opposed to the X-Acto knife. And if it doesn't work, I will use the X-Acto knife, but let me try it this way first. Only because it's wood and, you know, it won't cut into the paint with that razor that the X-Acto knife has. All right, there's that. Let's try this section here. All right. And you know, these masks are designed to come right off after you paint. So taking them off shouldn't be a huge effort. It shouldn't take a huge effort, but sometimes it does. So, you know, all right, now I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife. I'm gonna, you know, get the masks on there to pull them off. All right, we go back to this. And let's continue with the top section here. Now, this should only happen once, lesson learned. The other day when I was doing the top saucer section, this did not happen. I don't remember having to pull out, you know, a mask like this because of this particular mistake. I did have to pull the mask off because of another type of mistake where I misaligned it on the top. And, you know, this is the way you do it. I would recommend not getting your fingers stuck to the back of the mask, only because it really is tough to take it off your finger when you do that. Okay, I've got it on my bamboo stick here, and I'm gonna use this side now, not this side, to align. All right, let's go there. There we go. All right. See, and there we go. We're back. We're back in business. Don't worry about this. You're gonna end up painting all this a different color anyway. I believe there's a decal for this, if I'm not mistaken. If there's not, we're gonna paint it a different color, and I'll show you that in just a moment. All right, so that's number one there. You come back to this sheet, and you've got, the way you work this is, now you know you have this positive piece off. You skip this little section, which leads to all this whole section over here, and then you go to this little square. So that's the way you move. That's the way you move up. You know, when you're taking off these masks to add them onto your panel, if you're doing the positive first, you take that section off, skip the next section that's right next to it, and go to the next one after that. Once I take this off, I'm gonna skip this section and go to the next one after that. Skip, next, skip, next, skip, next. So you're skipping little sections of the decals as you're moving up. So now I know I've got to get this little piece right here, which is a little bitty square on both sides. That's the next part. So I'm going to do that. And folks, as you're doing this, FYI, you start seeing the pattern and you start realizing, okay, I know where this goes now. I know where this goes. You do so many of these little things, you remember where this all goes. So there it is. It's on the X-Acto knife. Sorry about the blur, but it's there on the X-Acto knife for you. Okay. And I know based on the position on the sheet that it should be right above the little arm here. So that's exactly where I'm going to put it. There's the little arm, and it matches perfectly to the little panel section that's already molded into the model. So let's put it right there in the corner. And it's not aligned, so let's just align it. With these little masks, you can actually kind of move them sometimes because there's just not a lot of material for the mask to hold on to, or for the adhesive to hold on to. So it's quite easy to just move these little sections. And then I use my finger to just press down. All right, now we're going to have a square on this side and a square up here, but because this section is not going to have the paneling on it, I'm going to just skip the little square here and leave it on the sheet there. All right, so folks, I just keep doing this up until I get to the top, and of course it turns out to look something like this. So now you can see I just, on the reverse, on the bottom saucer, I did this. I had this positive image here, this positive side of the mask. Here are the little squares. You go to the next section here, and then this section, and you just, there's more squares here, more arms, another little, tower pattern, another little square, more arms, and it ends at the top. Now this is obviously the top section. The bottom section is a little bit different up here, but you get the idea. And then you do this exact same thing over here, but you start with the arms. It's what I call the little lever arms. And then you've got the little crown pattern, tower pattern, more squares than lever arms, tower crown pattern, squares, arms, tower, so on and so forth. I hope that helps as you're working with these. Now, if you're a beginning modeler, which is what this series is designed for, and you can't do this, it's okay. If you don't have the time to do this, don't worry about it. A lot of us who started back when they first started putting out a lot of these models, especially with the original series, there was no Aztec patterns to put on, right? So please don't feel obligated to put these patterns on if you feel like you don't have the patience. If all you want to do is paint it with the pearl white, that's absolutely fine, and it'll look just as great with the decals that we're going to work on in another part of this, okay? So I'm going to continue this part of this offline. I just wanted to show you my technique for putting these on. I'm going to do that exact same thing for each panel, and it took me probably about an hour and a half to finish the top. this bottom piece. So I'm going to do that off camera. All right, let's discuss what I'm doing with the with this particular part of the secondary hull. I went ahead and decided I'm going to paint the dorsal here, the blue that I see in the on the box. So let me kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Second, there we go. So if you look at the box here, the box art, there's a lot of little detail that we're going into here that you can do. And one of those details is this little back blue on the neck here. So that's why I masked off the neck on the back. And I'm going to use a brush, and I'm going to use some paint that I just purchased. I think I purchased it. Oh, no, I went to Hobby Lobby. I purchased this, and I'm going to just paint this little piece here a blue color. It's probably going to come out more like this blue. These are decals. So are these that are going to go on. I believe this is decal, and of course this. Now I painted this duck egg blue here, but it doesn't look as blue as this does on the illustration. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. There's the duck egg blue, and you can see the difference. You know, and I mixed the paint, but I think the reason it didn't come out as blue is probably because this is an older bottle of duck egg blue. It really is, as you can kind of see, it's Model Masters. But I kept the duck egg blue. So bottom line is I went and I purchased this folk art crystal blue from Hobby Lobby, I believe. And it was $1 something, $1.17. So they're pretty cheap. You can probably get this at Walmart as well. And I'm just going to use a paintbrush, paint this blue, and get that going. And the other thing is, you know how I painted these yellow? I forgot that I still need to paint these little sensor areas that are, there's 4 of them on each side, I believe. Right here, right here, here. These little sensor areas on the top and bottom need to be yellow as well. So I'm gonna have to do that. So my first order of business on this is to get all the Aztec patterning, put the masks put on the bottom, and then I'm gonna move forward and I'm going to use my airbrush because I'm doing Aztec patterning. I'm gonna use an airbrush to get that onto the, paint onto the, onto the saucer section here. And just an FYI, I'm not using the iridescent blues and yellows or golds and all the other stuff that you use on the big 1350 ship. For the purpose of the way this looks on the box art, I'm just going to use a basic gray color. This is called Pearl Silver, actually. And I'm gonna mix it a little bit. It's an airbrush color by Creatix. These paints are meant to be used with airbrush kits. They're water-based. So I'm gonna spray this onto that and use this for the patterning. And I've got my master airbrush. This is just a cheap little airbrush I just purchased off of Amazon that I'm going to use with my, existing little air pump for airbrushes that I purchased a while back. But this came with some needles. It's called Master Airbrush. I know other people who use this and seem to have a lot of success with the airbrush. This is going to replace my older one, which is also a Master Airbrush, but that was a model G22. This one actually feels heavier than the old one and is a little upgrade over the old one. This is model G233 Master Airbrush. I'll let you know how that all works out once I'm done with the Aztec patterning and show it to you. This is definitely an advanced technique. So if you're a beginning modeler, once again, please don't worry about an airbrush set and if you don't have one. What I'm going to do is I'll put a link in the description to this if you want to challenge yourself. I'll also put a link in the description to the original Master Airbrush set that I purchased. It comes with a little airbrush pump. It comes with everything you need to get started except for the paint, of course, and the cleaning and all that. So I'll put links to these products so that if you want to explore that, you can. But if you don't, rattle cans will work as well. If you don't airbrush this, you're going to use a rattle can, you're going to have to really be careful. I wouldn't recommend it without an airbrush, especially with this Aztec patterning. It can be done, but you've got to be really careful. So just be careful with that. But in the meantime, again, I want to encourage you, if you don't want to use an airbrush, rattle cans are fine. You don't have to do the Aztec patterning. You can definitely just work with the pearl white and it's still going to look beautiful. I promise you. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in to this quick update. I really appreciate all of you, and please tune in. I will try to have these out on a weekly basis. I may delay this by a day or two, or maybe another week, depending on how far along I can get. But we are going to continue building this together. Invite your friends, grab the model, grab whatever you need, and let's keep going. Thanks again, and see you soon.